Hello, welcome to Polyphonic Press. My name is Jeremy Boyd, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new album by Asylum entitled Delayed Reaction. Here we go. Asylum are an American alternative rock band formed in 1983. They hail from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they released a couple albums independently until they scored a record deal with A&M Records in 1988. Their biggest selling album is their 1992 effort entitled Grave Dancers Union, which featured the song Runaway Trains, which received heavy rotation on radio stations and MTV alike. Since then, they've been fairly prolific, releasing albums pretty consistently, somewhat under the radar. And that brings us to this album entitled Delayed Reaction, which is their 10th studio album overall. And this album starts off with a song called Gravity. It's a heavy rocker, but it also has a very melodic quality as well. It blends both worlds nicely, and they really do work well together. Having the heavy guitars underneath very melodic quality isn't always going to work, and it's sort of a fine line to sort of find the right melody for like really heavy, loud, bombastic guitars. It's probably the heaviest song on the album. It's very loud and very anthemic. The song Into the Light is probably my favorite song on the album. It's very poppy. It's got a very 60s kind of edge to it, kind of like the Byrds a little bit, but they use a bit of heavier guitars than the Byrds would use, obviously. It's pretty upbeat, but it still has a bit of a rock edge to it a little bit. It's very summer sounding as well. I feel like this could be put on like on a warm summer day or something like that. Just a sort of a laid back feel, but very uplifting as well. The song Let's All Kill Each Other sort of harkens back to a sort of early punk, new wave kind of feel. It kind of feels like something that like Elvis Costello or Nick Lowe would do early on in their careers. You know, it's got those muted power chords that are very prominent in punk. It's short and punchy, and it kind of comes out of nowhere when you're listening to the album from start to finish. But once you get into it, it really makes perfect sense. Immediately following Let's All Kill Each Other is a complete 180 with the song Cruel Intentions. It's a slower song that has a very jazzy kind of lounge sort of vibe going on with it. If Let's All Kill Each Other is something that Elvis Costello would do in his early career, Cruel Intentions is definitely something he would do sort of later on. You know, once he's gotten older and mellowed out a little bit. It's got some really great jazzy piano stuff going on with it, and it's just a very laid back, sort of relaxing kind of song. The only thing that I thought this song could have used or sort of elevated a little bit is if they added a bit of a horn section. Just very subtly sort of add a little trumpet playing a melody or something like that, really would have elevated the song from being an okay jazzy song to a really great jazz song. Take Manhattan is another sort of uplifting pop rock song, and I kind of thought it was okay at first. I thought maybe it was a sort of filler or something like that until the chorus really kicked in, and then it just sort of hooked me in. I kind of like when that happens. You know, you're listening to a song, you're not really sure about it until something happens, just grabs you and holds your attention for the whole time. It's sort of like when you're trying a new food or something. You take the first bite and it's okay, but then you keep eating it and just with each bite it keeps tasting better and better. That's kind of what I found with this song. The album closes with a song called I Should Have Stayed in Bed, and it's got a very psychedelic influence going on with it. It's got a very slow, dragging kind of rhythm with it, and I'm still pretty unsure whether this was a good closer for the album or if it should have been left off the album entirely. It's an okay song, but it sounds like a B-side to me. It doesn't really flow with the rest of the record. It kind of comes out of left field a little bit. This particular album comes as a deluxe edition as well, with a couple bonus tracks. And I felt that a couple of those songs could have closed out the album quite a bit better than this one. This one just doesn't really flow with the rest of the album, like I said. Each song is a little bit different, but this one is really different from anything else on the album. Every song is pretty much straightforward, and like I said, this kind of has more of an experimental kind of psychedelic edge. It would have been cool if the whole album was like that, but it just doesn't work with the rest of the songs. The production is pretty clear and crisp. I really didn't have much of a problem with that. Felt like they spent enough time on the production, but they didn't overproduce it or anything like that. They just sort of did their job and did what they needed to do. This album is pretty strong, but like I said, it does have a few weak spots towards the end. A couple things that I would change to make it a little bit better, but overall it's a pretty strong effort. I think the strong songs make up for the weaker ones. It's not the greatest album I've ever heard, but definitely not the worst, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. So anyway, that's what I thought about the album. Let me know what you guys think in the comments or with the video response. And if you'd like to suggest an album, please leave that in the comments as well. And I'll see you next time. Take it easy.